So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for being here today to share your perspective about drum solo performance. And I got to know your work through Andrea Silvia Giordano, as I mentioned, and through Michele as well, Michele Rabbia. And I got
Yes.
and I got particularly interested in your PhD research, the vibrating drum. And so I thought of getting in touch with you to discuss, some matters that I'm currently wondering about myself in my practice, connected through my to my PhD research. So yeah, I wanted to start asking you because I went through a lot of material, a lot of your interviews. So I mean, I got a you know, like an idea of, like where you
Okay.
come from, what your background was. But I was curious to know where like the solo experience started from, like why you decided to start performing in solo. What pushed you to start this practice? And if back then you had any references in terms of like other drummers or instrumentalists or musicians who were playing solo.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I guess playing solo, it was kind of necessary for me to develop something on my own. That was always the case, not only for solo playing, but also to introduce kind of a new perspective on my instrument in other collaborations as well. But I guess mm, my first my first experience for solo playing was, I guess it was Le Quan Nin, when I met him, when I
Mm-hmm.
saw him play. Not only because he played solo at this concert. It was in Minneapolis in the States
Okay.
in, I think it was 97 or something. We were there with the trio and just landed, and then the organizer had booked the concert for the same day as we arrived, and we played the day after. It was a small festival there. And then I have heard about Le Quan Yin, but I've never seen him live. And then I saw him play his solo performance, and that was kind of mind blowing for me to experience that way of solo playing. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't because he was a solo player. More like the music that he really
Mm-hmm.
managed to get out of this, the drum and all the preparations he had. So that was kind of, I see, okay, this is the way the path I have to go
Mm-hmm.
to actually develop something on my own. I have to find. I didn't want to copy him, but I mean, you see, today you see that Lee Kuan Yin has had an influence on everybody playing
Of
the
course.
big drum horizontally,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I think it all comes from there in somehow, and then it is spread out.
Yeah.
But to me, I just had to find my own path, and that was the first really inspiring moment for and deciding to go and explore the solo playing.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And could you talk a bit about how you first conceived augmenting your instrument by implementing electronics and other percussive instruments to the set? Like, what
Mm.
was the discovery process that that led you to building the hybrid set that you have today?
Yeah, but the main reason why to actually was to strip down everything,
Hmm.
because I come from jazz, right?
Yeah.
So I came and studying jazz. I mean, I was okay. I mean, I was okay jazz drummer, but it felt to me that some of my limbs just were doing something automatically. I was fed into a tradition where I didn't really reflect and think about what am I really doing with all this. I was just copying and also trying to be a good jazz player, and also the music that I made. Being a jazz player was really, I wanted to do something else. I wanted to be able to be the bass player. I want to be able to play melodies, to play solo. I was not happy with just being the rhythm section, right? And then, so what I did in the beginning was just to strip down, to take away my feet, for example, to
Hmm.
take away stuff the bass drum and the hi-hat. So I just wanted to concentrate on one thing
Yeah.
and see how much I could get out of one single thing. And then I started with a small drum, snare drum, and then it just augmented every time to
Okay.
because I needed more space. I wanted to prepare, and I wanted to, and then in the end, it sort of led me to concentrate on the membrane and also
Yeah.
the sustained sounds and the vibration with things we're putting on, and then also the way that I, with my PhD, it's sort of led me to that, to connect with the transducers, and then to actually have hands-free, and also start with some adding electronics to my sounds. So
Yeah.
basically, it started with stripping down and just concentrating on one for a single thing, and then build from that. And then it's also been augmenting with ceramics, percussion, and now in the end, the vibrating speakers.
So like first limitation, like digging into like a limited and then expanding like in order to
Yeah. I mean, it was all about finding the core of what I wanted to do. What in the percussion instrument is what I is what hasn't been discovered yet. Where's the pocket where I can draw things out, not just being able to hit the drum, but actually to take advantage of actually the vibration of the sound that comes through the
yeah.
instrument, and what can I do with that, and what kind of music, what kind of percussion music can I develop with focusing on the horizontal playing and the
Yeah.
vibration of the instrument. Yeah.
So, do you think was it like were you purposely trying to make the traditional role of the drummer evolve through your solo practice? Was it something conscious that you were, like this fact of distancing yourself from the tradition and kind of like making, the traditional role of the drummer evolve through your solo experimentation? Was it something you were aware of like since the beginning?
Uh, You know, not really. I wasn't really thinking about evolving the percussion. I was just thinking
Yeah,
about making music that I was hearing in my head, and I wanted to use my instruments to do it.
to do it.
How
Okay.
can I be able to be a bass player, for example,
Yeah,
and play bass lines? How can I play melodies? How can I play? Now I finally can play glissandos
yeah,
with
yeah,
my instrument. I mean, stuff that I realized that okay, I'm a drummer, but really, what I want to do is make like original music, like
yeah.
something else. And then it happens to be I'm a drummer, so let's see if I can obtain all these kind of roles only with my instruments, and adapting and also augmenting it with different objects and electronics.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, I wasn't really thinking about the,
Yeah.
the development of the percussion. I was just thinking about developing of a kind of new music,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and then being able to, and having my drums as my main instrument. That also, of course, happened to be that I was taking a part of evolving the possibilities of the percussion instrument,
Yeah.
but it wasn't really a conscious choice that that's what I wanted to do. The focus was the music.
Yeah, so the,
What
the result kind of your research was
yeah.
like a this post-instrumental approach
Mm,
that you were
mm,
able to create and generate. Okay, interesting.
mm,
Um, and so yeah, going back to what you said about like stripping out pieces of the drum set and having to adapt your physicality to a different configuration of the drums. What
mm.
was the process also of adapting your drum gestures to the new configuration of the set, and if you had any challenges in that more in terms of like really like drumming and sticking or like having to
Mm.
coordinate like a finger like on the iPad and like another movement on the skin.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that doing this and also sort of moving on and trying to find the setup and the configuration of the instruments that I had also made me have to develop my own technique in a way. So
Exactly.
the technique that I have like a drummer was of course helping me to do things, but I also logistically I needed to find a way how to do my setup. So it was like trying and failing and doing different things. And every time I play the concert, I just realize, oh, I need to put this there because I can't do this at the same time.
Yeah.
This I still doing that. I mean, when I put new ideas into my setup, I need to find out if I can do this at the same time. And recently, I was just in Paris now with Michele, trying to in a new project with the Ondes Martenot player. She's
Yeah.
we are doing a new project, and then at some point I just with the technique that Le Quan Nin showed me with the symbol on the drum, right, with the
Yeah.
raisin on the skin, and I just never did that. I didn't want to attach any sticky things on my drums. I just use a bow instead. But that leaves me not free with my hands, right? So I
Mm.
can't do other things. So this
Yeah.
is just one idea I can do. And then I realized now, at Michele's house, he gave me a drum which was full of resin. So I could do that, and I can also play the iPad at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's a new thing that I need to work on now. I decided to take one drum and just use it like try to combine it with my hand, and it's all horizontally. Also,
Yeah.
the reason for my PhD was that I didn't want it to be something adding the iPad. It was I mean, it was hard for me to add the iPad because I didn't really want to be playing iPad as a different thing than playing the drums. I wanted to have all the, like a horizontal display of my skin, so I can move like very easily between all the things
Yeah.
that I had in one plane, right?
Yeah.
So that's also why I chose the iPad, because it's like a haptic, it's like tactile. Like I can actually easily include it without thinking that it is another instrument. I want it to be like organically involved with the iPad as this, in the same way as I'm playing the drums. And then that's also why I don't use a laptop, for example, because
Yeah.
I mean, laptop destroys the whole the whole
The whole
sense of
approach.
actually playing something physically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is also and also with the new technique, with this drum head with raisin on, and I can leave my hand. It's also it also felt very natural for me to do that, and I was kind of surprised I hadn't thought about that before. But I need to have a separate drum on the
Yes.
side, though. I
Yeah.
can't do it. I don't want to put all the resin on rosin on my Gran Casa. I don't think it would be. I mean, because I do other things on there, and it's just not so nice. But a separate drum, it would be cool to have. So I'm trying to do that now, to
Yeah.
incorporate that in my setup.
But and you don't control anything with your feet.
No, but I just bought two pedals,
Okay.
like two wooden pedals from a guy in the States who make them. Is Farmers something it's called. It's like two wooden pedals with
Yeah.
magnet.
Yeah.
So there's no chain, nothing that sounds, but you can attach like different things on these pedals.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, a stick, and you can and you can. But I mean, I'm standing playing, so and also a consequence of having back pain when you play the drum set, and the physical thing. I
Okay. So now
decided
you're
to just
standing. Okay.
stand.
Okay.
So I'm basically standing and not having pedals. It's nice. I can move around, and it's more like, for me, it's more gestural and also physically better for me to actually stand to play. I like it more. I get more grounded in what I do also. And then, but now this is also a project, and maybe some small things I would put on these pedals,
Yeah.
and just to have some small effects while I hit something else, that they get a different color to orchestrate more or less.
Yeah.
It's just like it's not like something. I don't compare it to the hi-hat or to the bass drum in the drum set. It's just other things that they could be bells, it could be whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I will try out different solutions, but it's basically just to color other things that I do with my hands.
Yeah. Interesting. And And so like before getting, more like diving more into the vibrating drum, I was wondering if you could talk about what's the role of the composition and improvisation within your performances normally, and also especially what's the process of structuring your performance, because like as far as I understood, you have like some pre-recorded material that you make into some sine waves that you send through your transducers or exciters, and so I was wondering if you have a sort of set list based on the samples that you like, the waves that you know that you're going to launch, which are creating some kind of atmospheres or some
Mm.
settings, acoustic settings, or if that works differently.
I do both. I can say that I sometimes I prepare material, sometimes I don't. I
Okay.
like to have it a bit open. I just have a at some point I don't want to decide too much. Maybe I decide for a start, like a start of a solo improvisation, or I have some ideas of places I want to go and develop into, like kind of material that I want to develop during the time, because it's important that this is happening in real time
Yeah.
also for me, because also deciding too much, it will never be like a direct consequence of my actions in the moment.
Yeah.
I feel that I need to do both things, and also, and I think that developing, I mean, this endless discussion about improvisation and composition, to me, it's not
Too relevant or no?
no, it's of course it's maybe it's relevant, but to me it's the same thing for me. I mean, I
Mhm.
to improvise is a method of composition.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't distinguish between the two. I think
Yeah.
that I'm doing both, and also that's what I'm trying to argue. Also, tell myself that sometimes when I play my solo performances, then I think that's, I mean, what was improvised or what was composed
Yeah.
is not really relevant, because I need to have this interplay between these two things. It's also strange to talk about, because I don't really manage to talk about it as one thing. I always have to separate to defend my position. I think I've played so many solos now that I know that I want to structure things anyway. So I have my material, have all these places I can go, and then I decide in the moment. It's really about the moment in communication with the place,
Yeah. With the
with
people.
the audience, and with the sounds that I made, and also the day. I mean, it's so many things, that parameters that are in play. That also in my PhD, I try to use the word musicking more than composition improvisation,
Yeah.
because I have both. I incorporate both things in my performances. So yeah,
Yeah.
and also to listen to improvised music nowadays, I also really appreciate people who really dive into the way of actually shaping the form
Hmm.
more. And then I can see that the people who have been thinking about actually the formal aspect of
Hmm.
improvising more than just the improvising part, that it comes up like at in the spur of the moment. But I think that people that are into creating something unique in their solo performances, they need to think formally also how they present the material. It's
Yeah.
not only about just playing. For me, that's, I can also distinguish between the people who have given that a thought and also actually have a plan to actually for the shape. Also controlling the events in time that
Yeah.
they have, like okay, you have 40 minutes solo, and then you are conscious about, okay, 40 minutes. Then how do I display a solo within these 40 minutes? How can I build? How can I create tension? How can I see that lots of improvisers, or lots of creative musicians, they have given that a lot of thought. That sometimes I also see that people who are not giving it a
Don't.
thought, which is And I think that it's interesting to to really think about form when you have this incredible amount of material that you have at hand. You don't have to dispose everything at once. You just have to find a way to present it and also to
Mhm.
create an interesting musical shape
Yeah.
in performances.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah. Wow. And so, and going back to your to your setup. So now you like, you know, the maximum that you do is like three drums. Sometimes you
Yeah.
have one, sometimes you have two, right? Why why three, you know, max? And are they always the same size when you go on tour? Like what you know, how big are they normally or
No, I mean usually it all started in the what I have at hand. I mean, the three drums is because they were all in my studio in Oslo when I was doing the
yeah.
PhD. So
Yeah.
I I used my own drums to develop the material. So basically, that's the thing. But I can't really expect to have the hand crank kettle drum for when I go travel. I can't travel with that. So
Of course.
this is a thing I have in Norway, in Oslo. So but for the recordings and the project that I did, it was more or less the gran casa and the snare drum that I can also get everywhere that I play. So it's possible.
With the same measures as well. Do you always ask for the
Yeah, I try to ask for a 36 gran
36?
casa and then
Yeah.
normal 14 snare
14.
drum. Yeah, which is different from what I have because I have like a 16 snare, 16
Yeah. Yeah,
16
the
speaker,
soprano
but
one. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Which is like impossible to travel with also because
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Super heavy.
15 kilos. Yeah. And anyway, but this no, it is also part of my project is actually to find a way with the transducers
Mhm.
to be able to work on any drum. So the whole thing
Okay.
is to be flexible. So I worked on it with my own percussion, of course, but it's also adaptable for any drum that you can make. So I mean, you can attach it to any skin or any drum, but I mean, it will give you more or less the same
Similar.
material. So that also was part of my my PhD is not to just being able to do it on one single drum, that any
Yeah.
percussionist can do this. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's also actually for others, if they're interested in working this way, they can do it. They can just buy the transducers and also the apps in the iPad. You can find it. I mean, it's not a secret. It's really easy to do. But I mean, it's all about how you
How
work
you
with it
develop
and
it.
the
Yeah, yeah,
music
yeah.
that you develop. So yeah.
Yeah. And so when you go on tour, you bring only the exciters with you. No, like the heads are the ones that you find on site.
Yeah, I do that, and sometimes I've been thinking about actually for the snare drum to bring like a head with the transducer on
Like
and just change the head.
already
Huh?
glued, like a glued.
Yeah, already glued to it. So because it takes a while to put
Yeah.
the manage the things, but I mean, but I have all these other things I have to take.
Okay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Yeah, let's make it
that's
easy.
another thing that I have to prepare. So no, I'm just bringing the exciters and the
Yeah.
small amplifiers for each
Yeah.
exciter, and yeah, that's what I bring of my stuff and the iPads, of course.
And so, based on what do you choose like the type of transducer that you're gonna use, and also like you know what type of transducer? Like I saw like
Mm.
you use diatoms and how many
Yeah,
watts, if I may ask. Mm.
yeah. Well, the at 25 watts, I think
25.
it. Yeah, the diaton I ended up with is this one. I don't XR60 or something. I think it's called
Yeah,
EXR60. This is the one I bought like 10, and then I rebuy them when they break, of course, because they do break.
they do.
So
Okay.
yeah, and then yeah, these are kind of fragile stuff. And also I realized in the PhD that more complex frequency information you
You
send,
send.
they heat up and they can't take it. So that's why also I work more or less now with mostly I work with sine waves because
Yeah.
they are really clean without harmonics. So
Yeah.
they last longer only working with sine waves. And if you want to
Okay.
send like pre-recorded material and all these things, they heat up and then they break. But
Yeah.
for the Gran Casa, I use the bass shaker. It's like a Dayton bass shaker.
Yeah.
It weighs kind of 2 kilos, so it has to be like a big membrane, at least a 36, for it to really resonate.
Yeah.
And then I move around. I mean, this
Yeah.
Dayton is for like they put them in seats for cinemas and stuff
Yeah.
for to
Yeah.
create the
Yeah.
vibration. So
Yeah.
they work from 80 hertz down to how much 10, 80 to 10 hertz. But 10 hertz, it's really not necessary because you can't really hear 10
Here.
hertz.
Yeah.
You just feel the vibration of it. But I work in the 36. The bass drum is more or less around 40 hertz, where I work 40, um, 42, 45 ish, and then I use the combination with the Dayton and the Visaton, because the Visaton has more, they sound more in the higher frequency area.
Yeah.
So combination with those two is perfect for the Gran Casa.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just want to, it depends on which project I'm in, and
Of
sometimes I
course.
just want to use bass, and then
Yeah.
I just have the Dayton one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And
Interesting.
also prepare the transducers. I have some Velcro
Yeah.
on the and then I attach stuff that vibrates
I
on the
would do.
transducer itself.
Okay.
So it's lots of things you can do. You can put things on the head and they will vibrate with you, and also on the transducer
Yeah.
itself. So there's various things that you can.
Yeah.
So it's basically to how to, I don't want to say hide, but also to just augment the already frequencies that are there in the drum,
Yeah.
but with small exciters, and then try to orchestrate it also with putting your own percussion. So it's kind of a mix of a sound. It's not really easy to. The thing is that it's I liked when it's really ambiguous where the sound is coming from. So you can't really see if it's acoustic or if it's electronic.
Yeah.
I don't really perceive myself as playing electronics either, because it's really the sound comes from the drum, right? So
Yeah.
I try to actually mold the sound also with the electronics, so it doesn't sound electronic. It sounds more like an augmentation of the acoustic sound of the drum.
Yeah.
This is my intention, at
Yeah.
least.
And so you started using exciters when like in order to produce sustained sounds, right?
Mm.
Also.
Mhm.
So like in your first albums, in your first solo albums, were you already using those to
No,
no, right?
no. The first, let's see, when is the first I used it? I think it was the Les
Let's
Dance
dance,
in 2016.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
2016 that I used, not these ones, but like these, this, what, how were they called? These that you can buy, like these Bluetooth speakers, you
Ah,
know?
yeah, yeah, like contact
Yeah,
speaker.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you, I mean, you could put it on a
Yeah,
shelf,
you
you can
just
put it anywhere.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that was the start. So that worked really well with the snare drum and stuff like that. But if I wanted to work in a low frequency
frequencies.
register, they really wasn't. They couldn't
Yeah,
handle those frequencies, and also they are super. They fall over. I mean, they are not sturdy when
yeah.
you play on.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
there
that's
was a mess to work with those of the Gran Casa. So that's why I wanted to develop more like a steady, like user-friendly transducers to develop and to be able to play those low frequencies.
yeah,
But then about the sustained sounds, I've always been interested in that. In even
yeah.
though I didn't use the transducer, but in the first solo in 2004, I used
Like
these
vibrators that were also no.
small ventilators, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
that I attached on a mic stand, and it was like
yeah.
touching the gongs,
Keeping
the
okay.
tam tams, and creating this harmonic
Okay.
spectrum,
Yeah,
which is kind of things I also played with, trying to merge with this harmonic spectrum. And this was like more like layers of horizontal thinking, which I already back then was thinking of doing. And also with the bowl, with the singing bowls. I
Yeah.
put stuff on the head which vibrated also. So it's been a slow process to actually find the way to be hands-free and also to be more flexible in using the lots of layers in the percussion setup. So
Mm.
it's been many ways of how I would try to obtain these layers. So these have been with the propellers or with the stuff that rotates inside the singing bowl by itself and put it in.
Like vibrators or
Yeah,
yeah. Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And,
exactly.
and so nowadays, whenever you have like three drums, you have one iPad connected to each drum, and
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
layering thing is the result
Mm,
of, like three sounds if
mm,
the three transducers
yeah.
overlapped, or do
Mm.
you also have like other ways to loop yourself like through the apps to create loop
No,
or
there's different apps and different functions
yeah.
of the app. I mean, I can play like physically melodies with like it's like diatonic sine wave, which is I can play glissandis and whatever, and I can also hold the keys and I can play chords, and I can with the amplifier I can bring them in and out. So it's
Yeah.
basically a way of orchestrating different layers
Yeah.
when I have those. And there's also some drum machines which I can create loops and also sample my own ceramic bells
Yeah.
inside the drum to use, and also pitching it, and there's so much things you can do. And so it's basically learning how to orchestrate all these possibilities, and also composing with them in real time, which is
Yeah.
the the challenge basically, which
Yeah.
is never ending. The possibilities are never ending, so you need to have musical ideas, and then work with those and see how logistically how you can actually make it
Achieve them. Yeah.
to
Make them.
create a composition in real time with all this because there's lots of things to think about
Yeah, no, of
more
course.
logistically. And so
Yeah,
this is also when I want to do this thing, how can I do that? And then I try to find a way to do it, and also program things and make it
yeah,
easy for me to do
yeah,
it haptically, really part of my
mm,
performance, and all the hand movements and all these things.
yeah.
It's actually yeah, it's developing a technique basically, a new technique with these things.
So when you have three iPads, you have like normally three different parameters, let's say that you control with
Mm,
different apps, or you use like the
mm.
like normally you try
Yeah,
to differentiate, like the type of app that you have on each single iPad in order to create like to have
yeah.
the
An example is the Musica Liquida,
yeah,
this one of the last albums I did, which I recorded lots of material with these three drums, and then I went back into the studio, and then I edited and I orchestrated
yeah,
the thing, and it became like a three pieces of a composition. And then a dancer, which I know she had an operation, and then for her reconvalescence, when she was trying to train to get better, she was listening to this album every day like a warm up, and then in the end we decided, okay, why don't we do a project
okay,
with the music? But then I really had to copy what
yeah,
I already had composed and edited, which was kind of a challenge because there
yeah,
were two proposing materials. I had to find a way actually to reinterpret my own composition and find in logistic ways. And then I used these three drums
Musica
to
liquida.
restructure the music that I created in the Musica Liquida, which is kind of interesting because then I actually played the record because she had prepared the dance
Yeah,
with the way the music was on the record. So I said, okay, to be able to do that, then it was like I made this time score of elements that what happening, and I had to bring in the things and playing. But it was fine. But in the end, the result, I think that we should do something else next time at least, because it was kind of two creations parallel, but they really didn't connect like in the
okay,
moment, because I just played the composition, right?
yeah,
Wasn't really into what she was
into
doing,
yeah,
and she was just copying what she's already been preparing from the CD. So I think
Mm,
that next time maybe we should just maybe have this in mind, but to create a new piece which is based in the moment.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that would be more interesting to connect more because it was basically two performances that really didn't for me at least. I just I could have played. For me, it made no difference to
yeah.
play with her or to play
Or
with
without,
because
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
then anyway, it was a nice experience and
yeah,
interesting to do it. So.
yeah, yeah. And how how is normally like the recording process of your solo albums? I guess like, it really changes much, but like
Hmm.
do you try to, like play more live in the studio
Yeah.
with your material, or yeah, how does that
I
work?
try to I try to much in order to get this arch of a piece. I need to play it live, I think,
Yeah.
because the form. If I try to recreate a form, if let's say I would like to have a 15-minute piece or whatever, and then I play for 50 minutes, and then it's important to have the sense that it is played live, it's made in the moment. But
Yeah.
then afterwards, I'm not like really, I'm not very strict on how to actually to add things
Yeah.
afterwards, and I can also enhance the color so that to make it more
Yeah.
even more strong formally. I do that afterwards. Sometimes I do various takes, and I use maybe I cut and do other things
Yeah.
because it's going to be on a CD. So I mean, it's not really doesn't mean I mean don't think it's really important that it has to be live. But
No, no,
many people are really
exactly.
strict
Yeah.
about that. But for me,
Yeah.
no, I edit and stuff, but I try to as much as possible to the ground base of the piece. I try to play it live, and then afterwards, I
You
if I
add.
think I need to change something or enhance anything, I do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And I was reading from, like one of your statements that I found in the publication of your of the vibrating drums, the PhD
yeah,
project, that you said that it's also, of course, like completely different, to, experience, the solo performance in a hall or in a studio. So
mm,
is that,
mm,
like, how do you adapt your playing to, to the place, where your setup is built, and if
mm,
it's also something that you consider like really like the space where when you find yourself in having to do a recording, like if you
mm.
choose like a
No, it's
studio with particular acoustic features, for example.
yeah, it's that was also a major that became a major thing in the PhD project.
Yeah.
It wasn't really thought of as kind of a thing that I wanted to do, but it just occurred to me while developing all this material, tons of material in my studio, which I thought, oh, these are nice things, but they
Yeah.
need to live in
Yeah.
some space. I need to make them alive somehow, and need to have someone to play with, and that's also playing with the space. It's also became an important thing in the project, also because it was during COVID, so I was just locked. We didn't play with anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe on Zoom, which was like terrible, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so basically, that it came to a point that I need to have like I want to have like a really specific place which is have a particular acoustics to be able to relate to something with my sounds, no? And then the first occurred to me was this mausoleum, which has like 25 seconds of reverb. And then after doing that, I was thinking, why don't I just do the opposite and try to record material in like
A
an
super
anechoic
dry.
chamber,
Okay. Yeah.
and which has no reflection at all.
Yeah.
And then I did the second album. I did record in that, and then there's actually then I became even more attentive to the acoustic of the drum itself, because that was the only thing that was resonating. And the space was totally dry, and and also my body was reflecting. That was the only thing that had reflections in the space. I needed to really be approximate to the sounds,
Yeah.
and that also, yeah, that of course had an effect on the material that is produced on these two albums. They
Yeah.
are really different in the amount
Yeah.
of density and kind of also the aesthetics of the. It has some similarities, but also it's no. It was kind of a revelation for me to actually to include this. Became even more important and more attentive during the process. That how much you actually relate to the people you play with, the audience, and also the space that are has an influence on the music that you make. And well, it's a kind of obvious thing to say,
Of
but I
course.
mean,
Yeah. Mm.
we take it for granted, right,
Yeah.
when we're playing. So, but this in these processes that I went through there, it was even more illuminating for me to actually consider that it's important to bring it along in the compositional process.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And so like for example, when you go to certain places to perform live, in a solo setting, I don't
Mm.
know, like would you do something different in terms of sound check, like maybe taking more time, for example, to adjust the sound of like, the membranes and the exciter with the, to understand how the
Mm.
bass resonates, or is it something that you do?
Yeah, the first thing I do when I go to space is actually to find a way to position myself in
Hmm.
a nice position in terms of being part with the audience.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that I love to be in the same same
Level?
height of the
Yeah,
audience and
yeah,
the right on the level on
yeah.
the stage. It's already kind of difficult and depends on the audience. And maybe I can bring the audience if the stage is
On
big. I can
stage.
bring them on stage. I really like to be in close proximity to the audience, and also, but depends also about the space and how big it is. And sometimes it's really nice to just position yourself in the middle and then bring
Yeah,
people around,
yeah,
because it's not. I mean, for me, I usually, if I can, I play acoustic.
yeah,
So if I can, I play acoustic. But if I need to play amplified, then there's a whole new ball game, because normally the PA is frontal. You have to be there. The
mm,
audience, it's really things that you just have to say yes to, and just. So sometimes these with the PA, it's just closing lots of doors. I think that maybe, but it's also opening others, which is. Which is always the case when if you play acoustic or electronic, you just have to adapt to the situation. But if I can play acoustic, I think it's better. The only thing that is difficult for me, I find, is to project the low frequency sounds in the bass drum, given that it's kind
horizontal
of
also.
horizontal and 1.5 meter up. So basically, when I play the low frequencies that are kind of they are felt, but they're not so many. They're not so audible. Depends on the waveforms. Depends on where you're sitting in the audience. Sometimes it's quite loud, and if you're sitting farther back, then you're sitting in where the wave is going down, so you don't hear that so much. So
Yeah.
basically, what I try to do is just put one mic on the Gran Casa
Okay.
and just have a
Uh-huh.
sub speaker
Yeah.
wherever in the
Yeah.
hallway in the room, because it's non-directional. It just gives a
Like
little bit
more
little bit
body.
more
Mhm.
body.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to have be able to feel the low frequency, and that has been amazing. Actually, it's worked
Okay.
really well. You don't think that is amplified, but you
Yeah.
just feel it,
Yeah.
which is the only thing that I amplify. I just take all the way the high and the mid, just take it off, and
Yeah.
just have the sub in
Yeah.
there, and that helps a lot, because that it's more true to what I'm feeling where I'm standing playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the mic, you just like position it and it stays in the same position, or you also use it
No,
on
no, the mic only
it's fixed.
gets the low frequencies,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's close
Yeah.
close to the skin. Is like that. It's like
Yeah.
a bass drum, like mic, like a B52,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just and you put it in the sub, and you place the sub somewhere that it doesn't create feedback from you. You
Yeah.
place it somewhere,
Yeah.
and then it gives a, yeah, and it really works well. I also do it we play with my quartet down Les Arts. We also do that because at some point there was difficulties in the venue to actually hear the low end
Yeah.
from the stage to the audience, and we just mic'd the bass drum and put it in the subs, and then balance sounded
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a nice technique to actually enhance that possibility, and it doesn't influence dynamically how I play. It's
Yeah.
not like it's it's
Yeah.
just a little lift, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A
Yeah.
little push. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, interesting. And going back to like we mentioned the audience of the concerts, like is it is like the relationship to the audience something that then you consider in your performance? Is it something you experience something different like in terms of like relationship to the audience when you play solo rather than when you play with an ensemble? Like, is that something that affects your playing and that you think about when you perform solo?
Subconsciously, it does. It does. I can't really pinpoint what's going on, but it's a matter of the concentration of the listening, that the sound that you make really are projecting to the audience. You can feel it. How I don't know, but you sense some kind of connection with the audience. You also feel their energy.
Yeah,
I mean, there's something there that it's really hard to explain, but there's an attentiveness also, the listening. If you I mean, if you start a concert and there's lots of silences, you can also get the vibration from the audience, what their level of attention is. So in that sense, then you also notice that how, and I guess it's also perceivable in the way that dynamics that you're able to play with in the concentration of the audience. If the audience is not there, you also I even noticed that the level of dynamic range diminishes
yeah,
a bit when the audience are really not attentive, or I mean, or even if the music is not happening, which is always also the case sometimes, that you struggle and then the energy goes somewhere else than actually the listening. You try to make the music happen or something, and your energy has some other focus, and then you also notice, then the audience also notice that. I mean, these mechanisms are really, they are really fine, and yeah, and it's I just noticed that the listening capacity of some audiences, you met straight away in the first note you play. Okay, this
yeah.
the room is
Yeah,
responding, and the
yeah,
audience in the
yeah.
room are also responding to it.
Maybe
They are
because
there for,
also because of the intimacy also of the setting, because they see you
yeah, yeah,
performing by yourself, and it's
yes,
I guess it's a position of extreme exposure, right?
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
then it's the inviting process that you put yourself inside the audience. You want
yeah,
to connect to them, and they sense that
yeah,
when you play. So
yeah. And
mm.
is there something, in specific that you're trying to express with the, to the audience with the project?
Express in what sense, you mean?
Like, like a message or like, yeah, or is it just like
Other than music, you mean?
energies or what?
Other than music, you mean?
Or within the music as well. Like it can be,
And no, I just want the people. What I really want is the people to be open and actually to dive into the sound, to be part of the sound.
yeah,
As the same way as I am trying to be myself, I
yeah.
want them to dive into,
To
except that they
reflect.
don't play, but they listen and they are part of it. And
Yeah,
they don't have another message than, I just want them to be attentive and
yeah,
to the sound in the room, and to share the musical experience with me.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't have any other subliminal messages, not political items. So, no.
Nice. Yeah, I guess like I have one last question for you.
Yeah,
Which is, and thank you so much for your time and for,
no, for sure. I mean, it's nice.
really like it's been like very, like very nice and very inspiring talking to you. Thank you so much for.
Yeah, but if you want to talk more, we can do that some other time also. If you have
Yeah,
more
I'll
questions,
come.
feel
I'll
free to
come with some
call.
other questions for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how long is
Um,
your how long is your PhD?
it's
It's 3 years,
3 years. Yes, yes, yes.
and you started just now.
I started a few months ago. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, maybe I'll ask this. I'll ask
Yeah.
you this last thing, and then maybe I can explain
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure.
so also why I'm interested in your work. Um, where do you think that higher music education, like conservatory education, should go with all these new possibilities of like post-instrumental approaches? Like, is it something that you think should be added in conservatories curriculums, like the kind of experiences of, post-instrumental approaches that that you are developed, that somebody like you is
Mm.
working on and dedicating his whole life on?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I think it's already are. I mean, the people. I mean, at least in Norway, there's lots of musicians who are dealing with this, and also maybe it's also the way that we call it post instrumental is kind of also weird, isn't it?
Mhm.
Because I mean, it's uh, it's a natural development of the instrument in a way. So it's not,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the instrument.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when did it start to be post instrumental? I mean,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
it's a continuous thing. So I think that it is natural, and also the way that at least from I see from Norway where I've been doing my PhD, that there's the interconnections between people, between the composers from contemporary music that have an education in composition, and also the people that are doing their investigations and research on their own musical practices, like
Yeah.
improvisers or whatever. They are sort of overlapping each other now. So there
Uh-huh.
are also you find composers who have compositional background who are improvising, and
Yeah.
also including all this is a mixing pot, which should be just you should just not separate these things
Yeah.
anymore. So it's and I think that's something that it's bound to happen at some point, that we're tired of, I mean, categorizing people in their field.
The
I mean,
practice.
also with what we were talking about, improvisation, composition,
Yeah.
these are so intertwined. I mean, so many composers are also
Great improvisers.
including
Mhm.
improvisational
Yeah.
parameters in their compositions, and they are composing strictly in connection with the musician itself, which has a language
Yeah.
also by its own. So it's all this community work that not that everyone is sitting
Yeah.
on their own little mountain doing their thing, but
Coming
there's more
together.
community based. I
Yeah.
think that is so. If I mean, I think it's bound to happen that all this traditional experimenting with the instruments it's natural that this is
Yeah.
included in the
Yeah.
education. Only that the educational systems are always late. So
Yeah. 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 They
it's
come 20
it's a
years
latency.
after.
It's a latency in the process when they get into the institutions, because there's the bureaucracy, and also the people that are teaching, maybe they're not into that,
Yeah.
and then they have 20 years of position, and
Yeah.
they're not really including themselves in what's happening outside the institution. So
Yeah.
basically, it's so important that people that have no attachment with the institution can come and do workshops, and also to be included, that the institutions are open to what's going on outside the institution, or
Yeah.
else it will be a huge separation between what's going on in the institution, what you learn, and then the environment outside is just far ahead with the
Yeah.
explorations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
the institutions it's difficult to run an institution like that, because they're always two step behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
No,
feel at
definitely.
some point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the PhD, to open up for PhD, it's good. But as long as they can bring people, I mean, it's hard to get into these PhDs because you need to have a master, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And many musicians that are doing
Don't.
research, they don't even care about
Yeah.
having a
Yeah.
master, so they
Yeah.
can't go to that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it should be also somehow acknowledged that the people outside the institutions
Yeah.
have capacity or level
Yeah.
that, yeah, they have, of course, to do research. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not only research that does have to happen inside institutions.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
definitely. But was
Yeah.
it yours like more like did you have to like write a thesis for yours or was it very like practice based your PhD and
No, it's
um
artistic research in Norway is like
mhm.
that. You can choose the way how to document, and my
And your
writings is online.
the website
That is the
ah
website. That's my
yeah,
documentation,
that's
and
incredible.
along with the two albums and the video
Yeah,
installation and the concerts I did.
yeah,
So
yeah,
all the work is concentrated into that website.
yeah.
That's the yeah. So that you can print a book or you can print a thesis, but it's not
Not
you can choose your
compulsory.
own and they want you to do that so that was the difficult part for me also the writing of course is hard because at some point you yeah it's at some point you think that fuck this art the art that I'm doing it speaks for itself right
Yeah, of
so
course.
why do I have to but then I what I liked most about the writing was actually the poetic writing the small things that are
Yeah,
the small things that I wrote, which has kind of an abstract value, which is parallel to the artistic
yeah,
result.
yeah,
That
yeah.
I mean the things that you have to analyze or write reflections are sometimes they are
But it's very helpful for
um,
other people
yeah it's
to
super
get it.
yeah
It's
I'm not
I don't know.
that
It's
is
really
that
super
sometimes
clear,
you
like the
don't
way you present
sometimes you
everything.
don't
It's wow. It was really
yeah, yeah, but sometimes you don't. You realize that you're not the writer, not exactly. You have to write it yourself. But so in the end, you feel. I'm sometimes you feel that you come really short to what you're doing artistically, and what you write is the level is not the same. Although when
mm,
I found these kind of poetic writings, I felt that
this makes sense.
this it's to me it felt it's in more because it's not concrete. It's abstract. It's so much inside between the lines
Yeah,
there that you can interpret, which is also the abstract thing about music. It's not
yeah,
a concrete thing. It's
yeah,
ephemeral. No? It's like in the air. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so that's yeah, it was challenging, but I mean it's healthy to do it.
yeah.
And also with talking about it later, it's also nice to see where it has gone and what it also makes you more aware of what you really want to do in music also. So
Yeah,
it goes both ways.
yeah.
But I would love to have um, private fundings for projects like this, which not having to go into an
Into an
institution to get the
institution.
funding and then really be, I mean, doing that, going back to school in a way, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love to have like maybe apply for a grant and do like and having the free time to decide myself because the institutional pressure that they want you to do this and they want you to do that. It's healthy, maybe people say you're healthy, but for artistic reasons, I think that we should also value the people who don't want to go into an
Of
institution to do
course.
it,
Yeah,
but still doing their research
yeah, yeah. Definitely.
for many reasons. Yeah, well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, super interesting. Yeah. Mm.
yeah.